Tiger and the Mystery of the Disappearing Moonlight. It was a quiet evening in Pawsville, and the townsfolk were gathered in the town square for the full moon festival. Lanterns glowed softly, music played in the background, and Mrs. Squirrel's bakery stand filled the air with the sweet scent of honey cakes. The whole town was excited for the highlight of the evening, the moment when the full moon would rise high in the sky and bathe Pawsville in silver light. Tiger, the detective terrier, sat near the fountain with his best friends, Harry the hamster and Bobby the bunny. "There's nothing better than a festival under the full moon," Tiger said, adjusting his detective hat. "It's a perfect night," Bobby agreed, nibbling on a piece of carrot cake. Harry adjusted his tiny spectacles. "Did you know that tonight's full moon is supposed to be the brightest of the year?" But just as the town eagerly waited for the moon to rise above the hills, something strange happened. A gasp spread through the crowd as the sky remained dark. The moon was nowhere to be seen. Mayor Tortoise stepped onto the festival stage, looking bewildered. "My fellow citizens," he said, adjusting his glasses. "This has never happened before. The moon should be shining bright, but it has vanished." Tiger's detective instincts kicked in. "Something isn't right. The moon doesn't just disappear." Harry nodded. "Unless something is blocking it." Bobby gulped. "You mean like a giant cloud?" Tiger shook his head. "No, the sky is completely clear. We need to investigate." The three friends began their search, starting with the highest point in Pawsville, the old Windmill Hill. As they climbed the hill, they saw the sky stretching wide above them, filled with stars. But no moon. Tiger pulled out his magnifying glass, even though it wasn't much use in the dark. "We need a better view. Let's check the telescope at the observatory." The observatory was run by Mrs. Owl, the town's expert on the night sky. When they arrived, she was already peering through the massive telescope, looking perplexed. "Mrs. Owl," Tiger called, "do you see the moon?" Mrs. Owl adjusted her spectacles. "That's just it, Tiger. The moon is supposed to be there, but when I look through the telescope, it's as if it's missing." Harry climbed up onto a chair and peered through the telescope. "It's not missing," he said slowly. "Something is covering it." "Like a shadow?" Bobby asked. Mrs. Owl hooted thoughtfully. "It's a moving shadow, but it's too large to be a regular cloud. It looks unnatural." Tiger's ears perked up. "If it's moving, that means it has a source. We need to find out what's creating it." They hurried back down the hill, scanning the horizon. As they reached the riverbank, Tiger noticed something unusual, a shimmering net stretched across the treetops. "What is that?" Bobby whispered. Tiger stepped closer and examined the net. It was nearly invisible, made of a silky material that reflected the starlight. "It's a giant web," he exclaimed. Harry adjusted his glasses. "But why would a web block out the moon?" Just then, a deep, slow voice rumbled from above. "Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause trouble." They looked up and saw a large, gentle-looking spider hanging from a tree branch. His long legs shimmered in the moonlight. "My name is Simon," the spider said. "I was weaving my web across the treetops when I realized I had made it too wide. I didn't know it was blocking the moon." Tiger tilted his head. "You mean it was an accident?" Simon nodded. "I only wanted to create the strongest web in Pawsville, but I didn't think about how it might affect everyone." Bobby scratched his head. "Well, that explains why the moon disappeared." Harry smiled. "If we help you move the web, the moon will shine again." Simon looked relieved. "That would be wonderful. I'd never want to ruin the festival." With teamwork, Tiger and his friends helped Simon carefully shift the web to a different part of the forest, where it wouldn't block the sky. As soon as they finished, the full moon reappeared, casting its bright silver glow over Pawsville. Cheers erupted from the town square as the festival continued. Mayor Tortoise beamed. "The moon is back. Let the festivities resume." Back at the festival, Simon joined Tiger and his friends at a table, enjoying a honey cake from Mrs. Squirrel's bakery. I learned something important today, Simon said. Even small actions can have big consequences. I'll be more careful where I build my webs from now on. Tiger smiled. That's what solving mysteries is all about, helping others and making sure everyone in Pawsville is happy. As the full moon shone above, Tiger and his friends knew they had once again kept their town safe and sound. And with that, they enjoyed the rest of the festival under the beautiful night sky.